Live.
Yeet.
And I'm making announcements in Discord, like someone who knows and cares about the way things work around here, around these parts.
Wow.
Skinnamarink-y dinky dink, skinnamarink-y doo. We do warm-ups, and that was Satan's warm-up song today, and now it is in my head.
Oh, I'm guessing we're live now?
Yep.
I just saw it pop up.
That's why I said go live.
Yeah, no, I didn't hear you for a little bit. It was just silent.
Oh. Well, dang. Hopefully that's not a portent of things to come.
Oh no, let's hope not.
Skinnamarink-y-dinky-dink.
Skinnamarink-y-doo.
Chapter 8 is a long one, just so everybody knows. We're gonna have
Mentally
several streams of
preparing
Chapter 8.
Chapter 8, the chapter that never ends.
There are several chapters like that. In every Unda work, you get a chapter where you think, my god, this will never end. The occasional
Which just makes...
novella-length chapter.
Yeah, like, hi, this chapter is 20,000 words. Have fun.
Have fun. Good luck. You'll need it.
Just, pretty much. But it reminds me of when I was younger and I played rugby and we were going to North Carolina for a rugby tournament. And one of the states we had to drive through was Virginia. And I swear, like, 6 of the 8 hours we were in the car was just Virginia. Like, hi, will Virginia ever end?
Still stuck here in Virginia.
Still stuck in Virginia.
That's good merch for Virginians, isn't
it? Yes, still stuck in Virginia. Just thought of a bad joke, but I'm not going to say it because this is a what will we consider this rating? PG? PG-13? I don't know.
PG-13 for kids who are cool with how much cursing there is.
I guess so.
I mean, it's not a for kids thing. I would say like teen and up really is more of the demo. But that hasn't
Rated
stopped some of Unda's readers.
Solid point. But yeah, no, because I thought of a horrible joke because, you know, Virginia's whole thing is Virginia is for lovers.
Is it really? Still that's weird.
Yeah, it is. Did you not know that?
I did not know that.
Well, I guess because you don't live on the East Coast.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I have to see, like, commercials for Virginia sometimes and Virginia license plates. And it says Virginia is for lovers. So it's, like, still stuck in Virginia because I never learned how to pull out.
Oh, gross.
That last bit was me. Bad joke time with Satan.
Bad joke time with Satan. Really, what else can you expect from Satan? We're here.
Yeah. And I'm drinking out of a big pink pearlescent mug.
Nice. I'm drinking out of a mug that says Santa size it. It's a big mug.
Santa size it, absolutely. Oh no, this mug, if you really wanted to, you could eat cereal out of it. It's a pretty damn big mug.
Yeah. This one too, actually. But yeah.
Yeah, when I drink tea, it's technically 2 cups of tea.
Yeah. We're not here to mess around here on the Unda streams. We gotta protect these vocal cords.
Yeah, especially because Matuna messes with my throat a little bit. He's really fun to do, though. It's not his fault. I got fucked up tonsils.
Tonsil Town. Alrighty. Let us begin.
Yeah. Alright, are you starting or am I starting?
I'll go ahead and start. I'm feeling energetic.
Energetic.
You follow along
Oh,
behind your friends, although you jump a little when Matuna appears out of thin air. He tells Karkat that he knows he's got a magical combat class and he's going to stick around. Which one of you two told on me? What do you think I'm going to do? Karkat asks, looking around at Dave and Solix.
not it.
Dave says hastily.
Not me either. I'm going to class with you. I don't need to outsource watching you to older, less cool me.
Solix says, and Matuna immediately leaps into the air so he can reach over and smack Solix in the horns for that, making the other demon pull away with a mischievous laugh.
Kanaya found out. They sent the starting off strong with Satan doesn't know how to read.
It's the curse of doing live reads.
Yeah, I feel like when you just sub in all of the lines, like you don't hear the fuck ups, you just hear the beautiful. And then there's me, like, hi, I woke up 35 minutes ago. I don't know how to fucking read. Oh, let me try again. Sorry about that. Kanaya found out. They sent your glass list over so the library could plan work around it or whatever, and she told me to come keep an eye on you.
Matuna answers Karkat now that he's done squabbling with Solix. What does Kanaya have on you to make you do that, huh? Karkat asks curiously and bumps his shoulder affectionately against Matuna's side.
Get through class without incident, and maybe I'll think about telling you. Also, don't ever trust Kanaya. She will hold shit you say and do over your head for millennia.
Matuna snorts. Matuna throws his arm around Karkat's shoulders and gives him an affectionate little squeeze, a fleeting side hug. It should be nothing, but Karkat seems so openly happy at it, and you feel. You don't know. He's not been himself lately, but right now he seems almost exactly how he used to be. He's happily talking to Matuna and interacting with Dave and Solix just fine. He's a little bit different, but at his core he still seems to be the same. But not with you. You're probably just imagining it. Karkat is still getting back on his feet, and a lot of his personality seems to flicker in and out. He doesn't seem to relate to people and things as easily as he did before, except when he does, it's almost too strong. He's clearly figured out Dave and Solix, but not the rest of you. He didn't know Matuna before, perhaps there's less pressure to be who he was. You can't expect everything to be the same, and the last thing you should do is let Karkat think that you're unhappy with who he is right now. It's better to think of him like you do with your mother. Sometimes she's all there, and sometimes she's a less functional version of herself. It's not her fault, and letting her know that it hurts is just cruel. You hugged Karkat this morning, and it felt a little awkward. You want to say that it was just because you were both holding things, but maybe it's not. And now you can see Karkat being openly affectionate with someone that he's not romantically involved with. There was no tension there at all. Oh, this is absurd, and so are you. I wish I knew what to do to help Karkat, you confide in June in a quiet voice. His species is tough, but they're complicated. I knew one of them before, but it's hard to tell what to do when the place he came from is so messed up. June agrees unhappily. You don't have anything like them, then? You ask, choosing your words carefully. No, I'm all about freedom. Making something to serve me is kinda counter to my whole deal, she tells you, and you suppose that makes sense. I want to help, that's all. At least he's got a part of him back. If questioning is one part of it, then how do we work out the rest? You wonder aloud.
Roxy's. I'm going to scream. Sorry.
You're fine.
Roxy's theory. Why is it so hard to do Solix when there's no S's?
Because that's his trigger. Start with an S word at the start of it and then go in.
Superstitious. Roxy's theory might be right.
Solix says, slowing down a little to fall closer to you. Evidently, he was listening in. That Karkat has the same words that Kankri did? June wonders.
Sorry, I had to read down to see who was saying this. I guess I should have known it was Alex.
No worries.
Tuna said angelic words are really fucking difficult when it comes to meaning just one thing. It's all about context and how you say it or write it, even if it's technically the same word. Maybe Cankry's part was supposed to mean answer, like having them, and Karkat's interpretation of the same symbol is question, like asking those. I don't know. Roxy told me that she's not been getting anywhere with translating Cankry's words, like they're working less than before, or not as magically alive. Maybe he's been dead for too long or something.
Solix sighs softly and looks ahead at Karkat again. Great. All we need is the world's most complicated thesaurus to use with a theory we only partly have. June grumbles.
Karkat got this bit back by himself. I'm hoping we don't have to do anything.
Solix adds. That would be easier. I hate the thought that we're failing him, though. But if all we can do is be there for him, then that's what we'll do. You nod and try to believe that, and try to convince yourself that that's good enough. It doesn't feel good enough. You'd prefer to be actively solving this problem. Your heart sinks a little as you get closer to Mindfang's classroom. It's bitterly cold outside, but even the warmth inside isn't enough to make you pleased to be here. What's worse is that Mindfang is waiting in the doorway, and she straightens a little when she catches sight of your group that's a little bit smaller than it was a moment ago. Where did Matuna go? I need a word with you, Mindfang says to Karkat as you draw closer. Just one? Karkat responds immediately. He's not trying to be smart with you. He had a magical accident, his memory is gone, as well as a lot of his understanding about certain things. You say hastily, moving to Karkat's side in a hurry.
We talked to admin and stuff.
Dave adds right after you. I need to know exactly what you did, or what happened to you, Mindfang says, and narrows her eyes at Karkat. Why? Karkat asks. What do you mean, why? I need to know, she replies, clearly annoyed. I was just curious. It's not going to help you because that's not something I can tell you. Why did you want to know? Were you just curious too? Karkat wonders innocently. You've messed with my magic. I should kick you out of class for this, Mindfang threatens him.
Legally inadvisable,
Solix says in a voice like cold steel, a very strong promise to get Redglare in here to sue Mindfang into the next century at least. Mindfang stares back at all of you with very obvious anger, but it's clear that Solix has the winning card here. She finally snaps and points through the open door to her classroom. Sit down, Mindfang hisses at you. Okay, Karkat says brightly, a level of cheer in his tone that seems to make Mindfang's eye twitch with barely restrained rage.
He's so cute.
He's so cute. He's doing a great job, sweetie.
Also, I have a super dumb thought.
Sure.
And like this is not canon, but obviously this Karkat Carcat seems like a little bit more like, okay, let's go. Like a happy little puppy dog. And my mind just went like, yes, the reason why he doesn't have that stereotypical rage, he didn't spend 5 years in Georgia.
He's just missing Georgia.
Georgia was taken out of the equation, and so was the rage.
That checks out.
Okay, sorry, continue.
Yeah. You all head to the classroom portion of Mindfang's room. Karkat sits down first and slides along the bench, seating to shuffle over just enough so you can all sit down. Solix teleports to the end before Karkat can get there, like he childishly just won a race. Dave sits down next to Karkat, then you, June, and Jade follow. Karkat takes out 2 notebooks and puts them side by side on his desk before him. Predictably, Solix starts on about how Karkat has 2, because obviously he has to. However, as Karkat turns to look at Solix, you see something. Karkat is still wearing that green scarf that he's had this whole time, even though he didn't bother with a coat despite the weather. Tucked in the back of that green scarf is a creature. Not a snake, but something snake adjacent. You mentally scroll through your magical animals and figure that you might be looking at an amphitheater, a snake with wings. It's gold and black in bands that are almost bee-like, and the feathers on the wings are black. Or they're black when they're present. A lot of the wings seem scorched and almost bat-like underneath. That's Matuna. It has to be. Well, that explains where he went. Mindfang starts to lecture, and you start taking notes. You can't help but look across at Karkat as you do. He has one hand resting on the notebook on his left. He's not writing, but all the same, there is text rapidly flooding the pages in the same angelic script that you've seen on your mother's whiteboards since you first got Karkat back from Cankry. On the right-hand side of the notebook, you can see Karkat actually writing with a pen, though it's still in angelic. You can see that the bits here and there are in English, direct quotes, apparently. You should be paying attention to the lecture, not this. On my desk is a stack of charms for almost all of you. I want you to wear those over the next week. They will become warm when someone is observing you without your knowledge. This way, most of you can learn to be aware of this and eventually do so without these charms. Mindfang says, though it's clear she's talking about Karkat.
That's easy.
Solix mutters. Right, Karkat says back under his breath. Of course, I will be testing your skills in detecting when you are being observed, both before and after I give you the charms, and then after a week. Solix exchanges a worried look with Matuna's little winged snake form. Karkat, for his part, looks unenthused by the idea. Mindfang is continuing with her lecture, so you try to pay attention, looking down at your notes again, only to see that at some point Dave has reached over and doodled a few dicks on the edge of your page. You slap Dave's hand away and return to taking notes, as Mindfang lectures on all of the various ways that one can be observed and how to tell. She cuts the lecture a little bit short and declares that you're all going to be tested now. There's a series of mirrored booths down there, and you're both curious and relieved that it isn't a combat-based test. It's a little safer for Karkat to do. This could be a lot worse. You really shouldn't have thought that. Trade?
Oh, yeah, sure.
You...
Mindfang says sharply to Karkat as he tries to follow the class to the testing area. Oh, don't jump, you absolute cunt. Sorry.
All good. I've highlighted where you are.
Thank you, I appreciate. Mindfang says sharply to Karkat as he tries to follow the class to the testing area, which is filled with the changed room-sized mirrored boxes, each manned by a grad student or toe.
It's Karkat.
Karkat tells her.
I know your name.
Mindfang sneers.
Huh, okay. I thought maybe you didn't, since you just kept saying you, but alright.
Karkat says with a shrug. To your left, June tries to walk past without breaking down laughing. She manages it, but it seems like it's a struggle.
I need your blood.
Mindfang says.
Why?
Karkat asks.
For the charm.
She explains, but sounds irked that she has to.
Why are you only asking me?
Karkat questions her curiously.
Because I already had everyone else's, but yours stopped working. Whatever you did must have done something to it. Look.
Mindfang sneers and holds out a little sample tray. That is Karkat's name on it, and his blood looks fine if dried up.
That is my blood.
He confirms with a nod.
Give me a new sample.
Mindfang demands.
No.
Karkat says simply, and Mindfang looks stunned that he'd say no at all.
Why not?
She demands, clearly thrown.
Because it's my blood. I'm not handing it out like that. I'm not stupid. Anyway, you already have that, and I don't like that you have even that much.
Karkat answers her easily.
If you don't participate in this class, I'll fail you and kick you out, and if I fail you, then your whole group fails and is kicked out as well.
Mindfang sneers at him.
You have my blood, and I don't want to give you more of it, so you're going to go to the staff and
Karkat starts.
and get you kicked out of my class, failing you, yes. And as you need these credits, maybe you'll be kicked out of the university entirely.
Mindfang hisses.
But you know that I'm only participating in this class without being graded right now, right?
He asks curiously.
I don't care about your pathetic little exception. That stuff doesn't fly with me.
Mindfang growls. You're going to lose it. How dare she threaten Karkat when he's like this? Or at all. What is her problem?
That's really interesting. I really want to know how that goes.
Karkat says cheerfully, despite Mindfang's obvious malice towards him.
You can't do this.
You hiss at her.
No, it's fine. I'm really curious to hear how that conversation is going to play out. I don't know how you tell someone that you're angry because your student won't give up more of their blood and you want them kicked out of a class that the student isn't really taking because of medical reasons. All because you're so bad with blood magic that you can't do massively basic blood magic. I wouldn't tell my supervisors that, but I really want to hear how it goes.
Karkat says pleasantly, but there's something too sharp about the look in his eyes.
That is some ego, thinking you're better than me.
Mindfang hisses like an angry snake. Karkat makes a thoughtful noise and looks around her to the table where all of the charms are. There's a pointedly blank one waiting for him. He murmurs something and it flies to him, smacking into the palm of his hand. Karkat lifts a finger and the dried blood from his sample turns into a glowing red mist that then rushes into the charm itself. Karkat looks at it for a second, then up at Mindfang.
Well, now I don't need to think about it. Anything else?
You missed a bit.
Where?
You missed now we know.
Oh. Well, now I don't need to think about it. Now we know. Anything else?
Karkat asks cheerfully and politely. Mindfang seems to be stunned into silence, so you're going to take the chance for a very hasty exit.
Karkat, you're not supposed to antagonize her like that.
You warn him under your breath.
You didn't say I couldn't. Also, I'm not leaving samples of my blood around. That's so dangerous.
Karkat says back quietly as you walk together.
Well, Solix did it, so I'm sure it's fine in that amount, or the school has some regulations that do something.
You insist, though you feel like you're on shaky ground.
Or something.
Karkat mutters.
He agreed. Don't you at least trust his judgment? Really, we're safe here. You don't need to worry.
You reassure him and put your hand on his arm. Karkat tenses slightly and flashes you a small smile that doesn't soothe you one bit.
I'm fine. Besides, we've got this test thing in a second. Someone like her isn't going to back down. She reminds me too much of Kankri.
You don't know what to say to that, or to the way that Karkat drifts off to quietly talk to Solix and leaves you alone. What the hell just happened? Mindfang's test of observation itself is fine, though you fear that you didn't do as well as you could have done after how much Karkat's interaction with Mindfang threw you.
When you get out of it, you see that Karkat is already done and is waiting off to the side, watching Celix get out of his test. You feel like a petty little 5-year-old because some stupid part of you feels upset that he didn't notice that you were done with your test.
It'd barely be a curse.
Karkat says quietly to Celix, and you watch Matuna's tail smack Karkat in the neck.
Fine, fine.
Karkat mutters. Yeah, bad idea. Look, don't ask my opinion on the other thing. I can't have anything to do with it. Oh, what Dave's done, Celix says and darts off.
What was that about?
You ask.
Don't worry about it. Can you stand still for a second, please?
Karkat asks you and moves so you're between him and the rest of the room.
Sure?
You say, feeling entirely lost with the situation. Karkat ducks his head a little and lowers his gaze. It doesn't stop you from noticing how his eyes start glowing completely white, nor does it block the impossible syllables that he's mumbling.
Karkat?
You whisper in a panic. You're pretty sure that he shouldn't be doing this. You look around hastily, but aside from noticing that Dave looks a little like he's going to throw up, there's nothing else amiss in the room. Jade and June are just stepping into their boxes for their test, and Mindfang is scuttling around just fine. There's nothing. Oh, there's something. A glimmering light rushes along the ground, taking the path of the cement between the large stone tiles. It races towards you, around your foot, and then up into Karkat's hand. He holds his hand out, and 4 drops of blood orbit in his palm like tiny plants.
Much safer.
Karkat says quietly.
Are those our blood samples?
You ask in horror.
Yes. Don't just leave your blood hanging around like that. It's dangerous. I already got rid of mine.
Karkat says, casually moving his fingers like some sort of contact juggler as he spins the drops of blood around. Your eyes flit over them. The gold is obviously Celix. One of them is slightly off-colored and almost a little bit green, so you're going to guess that's Jade. But then, what?
You're missing one.
You say. That's just 4.
There were only 4 samples of ours up there. Yours, Dave's, Solix's, and Jade's.
Karkat counts out, the drops of blood moving to each fingertip as he does so.
But June...
You start.
I know blood. It's my aspect. Whatever she has up there isn't blood.
Karkat explains.
Because she's a god.
You drop your voice to barely whisper as you say it.
Gods bleed.
Karkat says vaguely and moves the drops of blood into his palm. Well, what does that mean then? You know that June just had a charm made. She had a recall crystal made too. What's going on? Karkat hisses Celix's name at him, and your demon friend looks up. Karkat jerks his head a little, and so Celix steers Dave over to you. What? I'm kind of... Celix's irritated response falls away as he looks at what Karkat has in his hand. Is that blood? Dave asks weakly, and Karkat hums an affirmative little in response. Oh, I could fucking kiss you, Celix whispers.
I'll remember that. Want 'em gone?
Karkat asks. Yeah. Wait. Which one's which? Did you take Roses out already? Selleck asks. Selleck? Yep. New character just dropped, Selleck.
The luckiest bitch around.
Off to join Jage and Sarkat.
More names. More names.
More names. More names. Selleck asks. Oh, so he thought June had one too, and Karkat had simply disposed of yours before he got here.
Nope, there isn't one for June, or what's up there isn't blood.
Karkat answers him.
But June had a charm made and a recall crystal. That has to be blood.
You insist. Yeah. Oh, da. Yeah. Oh, god damn it. Celix mutters, and Karkat winces at that.
Ow.
Karkat says pointedly. Sorry. Yeah, I don't know how or why she's done it, but I'm going to bet that's fake movie blood up there. Celix groans.
Movie blood?
Karkat repeats. Okay, so remember how we talked about how movies aren't real, Karkat? Celix says sweetly.
I'm going to bite you.
Karkat tells him flatly.
I'll remember that. They make fake stuff that looks like blood. Either June's blood goes movie fake when it's not needed, or she switched it out for comedy reasons because June.
Celix says.
The second one.
June says, suddenly behind Celix. It makes him jump a little, but at least Dave saw her coming. You're not sure that he could take another scare right now.
You could have done that for all of us. You playing my number thing won't help you.
Celix accuses her mildly.
It wouldn't have been funny, rule of comedy, dude. But how did you get those?
June asks, peering around Celix to look at Karkat's open hand.
Took them back. What's she going to do? Tell everyone that she's bad at her job and lost her samples?
Karkat says with a sharp smile. Isn't she going to notice them missing? Dave asks weakly. Oh, bitch. Sorry, I accidentally exited out of the fucking thing.
No worries. I've highlighted where we are.
Thank you. You're the best.
I try.
Yeah, usually I just accidentally jump, but instead I straight up exited out of the dude.
So that's enough of this, dude. We're ready for the next one. And we almost are, but before we get there, we will have a break. And we are very close to that break.
Yay!
Yay! Just let me know whenever you're back, and then I'll say June's line.
I'm back.
Nice. Nah, it's funny now to make them fake, so I can... There.
June says, as her eyes momentarily flare blue and then go back to normal.
Are you okay with me destroying this, Jade? I don't like people having this kind of control over my friends.
Karkat asks, looking at her.
That's really thoughtful of you, Karkat. Go for it. Are you okay, Dave? You look a little pale. More than normal, I mean.
Jade asks as Karkat snaps his hand shut in a flare of dark red. After a moment, it turns white, and then he opens his hand, and there's nothing there. I'm good. I'm fine. I just don't like being watched. It creeps me out, Dave manages to say.
I could teach you an invisibility spell if you'd like. Oh, maybe it would need to be a human one and not my thing. Huh, yeah, I can research for one for you if you want.
Karkat offers, his comfort veering towards curiosity again. It's clearly not quite what Dave wanted to hear, but he's evidently trying to take that in the helpful spirit that Karkat meant it in. Mindfang is scuttling about, talking to her research students, the ones that were running these tests for her. You haven't even considered what your result might be. Some seer you are. June and Jade are discussing how they think they did, though you suspect that they're mostly just talking so you aren't all watching Dave silently freak out. You open your mouth to ask a question and falter when you look at Karkat to ask it. Now that he's disposed all of his stolen blood, he's standing perfectly still. Far too still to be human. Not breathing. Not doing anything. The only part of him that moves is his eyes as he tracks Mindfang's every movement.
Are you okay, Karkat?
You ask him quietly.
I can handle it.
Karkat murmurs, still watching Mindfang and her assistants as they look over at your group. That wasn't really an answer to the question that you actually asked. That's not a good sign.
Card game, Selleck says between gritted teeth.
Are you freaking out a little too? I don't feel so bad if it's not just me. Like, it's objectively creepy, isn't it? Dave asks in faint hope.
I don't think it bothered me, but then I'm used to it. My grandpa was always really interested in my magic, so he used to watch me a lot.
Jade offers.
I think your island needed cable, Jade.
June snorts. But, like, being watched and not knowing where from, that's objectively unsettling. Everyone would find that weird, Dave adds. And although Solix nods in agreement, he's clearly looking for Karkat to agree.
It's not the watching. That's not great, but it's...
Karkat manages, still staring at Mindfang and her grad students.
The everyone talking about how well you did or didn't do behind your back,
Felix says slowly and uneasily. Karkat shudders and then suddenly has several extra pairs of eyes on him, all of them darting about anxiously. Batuna grows in size and nudges his serpentine head under Karkat's jaw. Observing. Judging. The words make their way into your brain without being actually uttered at all. Karkat doesn't open his tense jaw to speak, but those were his words in your mind. Matuna shakes his serpentine little head and flicks his tiny wings. There's a flash of red-blue light and a trace of honey, and Karkat is gone.
Yeah, fuck this,
Sullix mutters, and then he and Dave are gone too.
Oh, Mindfang is going to love that.
Jade says unhappily. To the shock of absolutely no one, Mindfang does not love that. Your score was decent, not as good as you would have hoped, but decent. Dave, Sullix, and Karkat, though, all three of them got 100% on that test, and Mindfang is even angrier about that. You know that Sullix can be pretty hyper-vigilant, and that living in hell meant that he had to be on his guard, so you can guess why he scored so well. You can draw very similar theories for Karkat, especially with how he reacted as soon as he didn't have the blood to distract him. You're drawing a blank on Dave, though. Your brother isn't exactly the most observant person in the world. He loses his stuff frequently and is often entirely oblivious about what the people around him might think about the things that he says. Sometimes he says things and then seems to realize that, oh, wait, maybe that wasn't something to say with this audience. He didn't even notice how hard Karkat was pining for him before. That's how unobservant Dave is when it comes to people watching him. How many longing looks did he miss from Karkat? How did he possibly get 100%, and why did this test unsettle him this much? Why did Karkat tell you that he could handle this when he obviously couldn't?
And now we'll take a break.
Break time.
We'll leave you on these questions of Rose.
Questions of Rose, do.
Nobody knows these questions of Rose.
Not even Rose.
She's confused.
She is most definitely confused.
Confused. I think we're looking at coming back at 55.
That's how
I'm a
math works.
biology
Yep.
student working on a research paper for school.
I had to think
As
for a
I
second,
work, I incorporate research from websites.
I don't understand the passage of time.
Who needs to?
Dave.
Debatable.
Solid point. He subconsciously understands time, but if you were to ask him, he wouldn't have a fucking clue.
It's like, listen, we all have instincts for a reason.
Yes.
Oh, hello, Noodle. Hello. Pretty little lady.
So pretty.
She is exploring. Alright, we shall be back at
Indeed.
55.
Everyone have a nice break. Get some tea.
Tea time.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, Mr. Obama.
I do not know this joke.
What'd you say?
I do not know this joke.
It was a thing on Tumblr that's just, oh, whoa, Mr. Obama. Please, Mr. Obama, I'll do anything. Then perish.
Oh. Tumblr, so many depths.
Tumblr. I like your shoelaces.
Thanks, I stole them from the president.
Yeah.
That one
You
I
knew
know.
that one at least.
That one I know.
Do you like the color of the sky?
I do not know this one.
Oh, it was a massive post that was super, super long. And it was, do you like the color of the sky? And it was just like so many images of how the sky could look.
Oh, that's pretty.
It was pretty. All right. Are you starting? Am I starting? What are we doing?
I'll go ahead and start, since you
Okay.
took last shift. Here in
True.
the word mines.
Yeah. Although before we start, I was talking to Kylie like during break and saying, ah, yes, the newest addition to my mispronouncing character names, Solek. And Kylie's response was Salt Lick. So that's his name now. Salt Lick.
Salt Lick.
Salt Lick and Mr. Krabs.
Perfect. A delicious
All
duo,
right.
if ever there was one.
Yeah. Delicious.
Alrighty. You, Jade, and June leave your class, and you end up pulling your coat tight around you. You could swear that it's colder now than it was when you got into class. You'd really hoped that it would warm up as the day went on. The paving is a little bit icy underfoot as you walk, and you eye June.
Hello?
Hello?
It did a fucky and I couldn't hear you for a second.
Gotcha. When that happens, they can still hear me because mine is where we're streaming from, but I'll go ahead and start over just in case.
Okay, sorry about that.
All good. We can't fight the tech, we can only work with it. You could swear that it's colder
We
now than
can't
it was
fight
when you got to class. You'd really hoped that it would warm up as the day went on. The paving is a little bit icy underfoot as you walk, and you eye June as you walk back to the dorm. Is this you? You ask her. Is what me? June says, back, sounding confused. You gesture to your frigid surroundings. It's weather, isn't it? Oh, the cold? Nah, that's not really my kind of thing. I probably could if I really tried, but I'm more weather events than seasons, June explains. You suppose that makes sense, a micro and macro scale of climate and weather. You'd still prefer that this wasn't the weather right now. Aren't you cold, Jade? You said that your island was tropical, you ask her. Jade has a coat on, but it's not as thick as yours, and she doesn't seem that fussed about wearing it at all. I'm fine, actually. I'd worried what the weather would... I'd worried that the weather would be a big deal when I moved. I can't say that I like gross rainy weather, but cold and clear weather like this is nice. Maybe changelings and fae are hardier or something, she says and shrugs. It's clearly a guess, but it's as good as any other. Well, I'm going back and getting under my blankets when we get back. We've got a few hours until our alchemy class, and I want to warm up in them. I also want to see if I can find out what's going on with Karkat. Clearly that test got to him, you say. No prizes for guessing why. Being evaluated and watched all of the time leaves an impression on a person. Karkat got enough of that back home. Clearly it stuck, June says, with a very euphemistic back home in there. Heaven was not Karkat's home, no matter how long he lived there. Jade seems a little unhappy about that, but who can blame her? What happened to Karkat is inexcusable. You need to let him know that he's safe here, that you're all looking out for him. When you get back to your dorm, there's no obvious sign of Karkat. He's not in the main room, and since his clothes are magic, there's no shoes by the door to tell you that he's in or out. You hesitate at Karkat's bedroom, but eventually you knock. He doesn't answer. The two of you agreed on a system when you moved in, about keeping your doors open or leaving a note to say whether the other person can come in. Karkat won't remember that, and he might not know that you can't hear him from this side. So, really, it's okay if you open the door. You knock again just to be sure, but when there's no answer, you carefully ease the door open, pausing when it's just cracked in case he tells you to leave him alone. You don't hear anything, and there's no response to you calling his name again, so you open the door all the way. He's not here. You don't see him before class, or even afterwards. Karkat doesn't come home that night, and the next morning when your friends meet you for breakfast, he comes down the stairs with Dave and Solix. It's not as if he's even talking to them, he's talking to Jade. If you want me to, I could just check in on him. It won't exactly take long to get anywhere, Karkat suggests. I'm pretty sure that you shouldn't be doing that, though. I don't want your new dad mad at me, Jade teases. It's flying. It's not hard, Karkat says flatly. Oh, so you admit that he's your dad. Jade giggles. Didn't you say that you didn't have any family? Ask him nicely. Maybe he'll adopt you too. Karkat teases Jade. They're so cute.
I love them. Okay, but the Karkat Jade friendship is not something that I knew that I needed.
It's so lovely.
I love them. It is.
Meanwhile, in Rose Hell, this is so stupid. You're being absurd. Stop it. Why do you feel like you could cry?
Hey, you good?
Solix asks, noticing your mood. That's awful. He shouldn't notice because you shouldn't feel like this, much less look like you feel this way. I'm fine. I'm concerned about Karkat is all. He didn't come back yesterday, and I was worried. You tell him. It's true, but it's not the whole situation.
He was with us. He didn't tell you.
Solix says in surprise. You shake your head and Solix grumbles, reaching ahead to slap Karkat in the back of the head. Not hard, but enough to get his attention.
Idiot, I didn't give you that phone back so you could just not message people.
He snaps at Karkat. You said I should stop sending you so many messages, Karkat points out.
I don't want to hear what's in those. I already have to see Solix's face when he gets them.
Dave interrupts as you walk to the cafeteria.
No, you didn't tell Rose where you were last night.
Solix says, trying to get this conversation back on track. Okay, Karkat replies in a puzzled tone.
And you should. She's your friend and your roommate. She didn't know where you were and she was expecting you back.
Solix explains. Oh, sure, okay. I didn't think about it or whatever, Karkat says with a shrug.
Aww.
That hurts. At least Solix seems as frustrated with Karkat's behavior as you are. Solix would troll you about everything, where he was and what he was doing.
You said Solix.
Karkat would troll you about everything, where he was and what he was doing. It's not as if he had to check in with you, but he thought about you. If he was out in Salem, then he would message you and ask if you needed him to pick anything. If you needed him to pick anything up for the dorm, new bread or milk. He'd tell you if he was going to miss a meal or be late so you wouldn't wait for him. There was care and thought in everything that Karkat did, but not now.
He doesn't mean anything. He just doesn't get it. I have a theory about that.
Solix says quietly.
Karkat's better at understanding things if it's something that's happened to him. Or if he can say it's like something that happens to him. He feels pain. Animals feel pain. He won't eat them.
Solix continues in a hushed voice. He's projecting? You ask, not sure that you've caught what he means.
Kind of. I know that the only person he lived with before was Cankry. He was a guest at your mom's house, but so were a lot of us. I don't think he gets what it's like living with someone who.
Solix winces. Who cares about him? You finish.
Hello?
You there?
Okay. Sorry, my phone still has this thing where if the screen goes dark when we're all called for Discord, can no longer hear each other.
Oh.
What was the last thing you heard?
I just finished saying, who cares about him? You finish.
Okay, but you heard everything I said before that?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Right, that's my guess. He cares, but I think he has to think about it sometimes.
Solix agrees. Then what about his new family? That's got to be new, right? You reason, and Solix seems to consider that.
I don't know. It's not as if Matuna is acting in place of Kankri, but it's close, maybe. Karkat could just be extending the concept out. Who knows? Maybe it's just a theory. A game theory. Sorry, I had to.
He was summoned to a higher purpose.
Now I'm just imagining Sullix and Matuna running game theory.
I feel like there are other YouTube channels that would be a better match for their interests.
Yeah, solid point. Okay, sorry, where was I?
He still cares, but he doesn't get it so easily. He doesn't mean anything by it, I'm sure. He was worried before about you two miscommunicating about species stuff, so he does care what you think.
He offers. That's nice, reassuring at least, but it doesn't do much to take the sting out of it all. It's just so wretched to miss someone that's still here. It feels cruel of you. You go to the cafeteria and eat your breakfast as Karkat abstains, though he does still drink coffee. Jade is talking to Solix, who is agreeing that Karkat can't just fly to Jade's island to go check on her dog for her. I can, though, Karkat counters for about the third time.
I love this man so much.
I'm just saying, it's totally within my powers. And it totally involves a sick dog. Hear me out.
There's a puppy.
There's a puppy.
Hear me out.
Give me the
Puppy
puppy.
Okay, but like, why is this also making me think of Squirrel Heaven now?
Oh, I love Squirrel Heaven now. I wrote out a thing for that. We need to get it voice acted.
Yes, please. Squirrel Heaven now.
Squirrel Heaven now.
Okay, sorry. What? We're so professional. Can y'all tell?
Oh, of course. This is why we get paid the big bucks.
The big bucks. Totally. What? Cool. I'm fine. Zen. What'd you say, Kylie? And then Kylie just said Zenyatta, not Zenyatta. We're not monk robots.
Speak for yourself. Beep boop. Beep boop, beep boop.
No, if I were a robot, I would definitely not be a monk. What would I be? Maybe a fighting bot that has real fucked up joints, but he's doing his best.
I'd be a robot that overloads itself trying to understand the entirety of the internet.
Back on task. I can do this. What's your dog even been eating this whole time that you were away?
Dave wonders. I know how I can find out. Karkat interrupts.
Hello?
Solix tells him quickly. He always used to hunt on the island. He's perfectly fine. I cooked him food as a treat, but it was never his main source of it. He's not going hungry. I was going to go back over winter break, but... Jade glances at Karkat. But you were unexpectedly busy. Well, now I have to go, Karkat insists.
Okay. It got quiet for me. I couldn't hear you for a second.
Which seconds?
What did you just say?
But you were unexpectedly busy. Well, now I have to go, Karkat insists.
Wait, where? Where? Oh, you just skipped over the part where Sulik says no.
I heard you say no.
Did you?
Yeah.
Because I don't remember saying it.
We'll take it from the no.
Okay, I am so sorry.
All good.
No. No.
Solix tells him quickly. He always used to hunt on the island. He's perfectly fine. I cooked him food as a treat, but it was never his main source of it. He's not going hungry. I was going to go back over winter break, but... Jade glances at Karkat. But you were unexpectedly busy. Well, now I have to go, Karkat insists.
No, you don't.
Solix corrects him. Oh, please. I already know what we're doing in this class. I read the whole textbook. Oh, Jade, I could be there and back in a few hours, Karkat insists.
You get in trouble everywhere you go. You're not going off to some random ass island by yourself.
Solix tells Karkat sharply. Aren't you interested in class? You ask Karkat. I want to learn, but I'm not a fan of getting lectured, Karkat mutters. They're not all like Mindfang, you point out. I'd prefer to help Jade. Besides, it's a whole island that I've not been to before. That's so interesting and exciting. Karkat beams at the thought. Maybe I could get a port there after class. Well, actually, no, I should save that for a weekend. Damn, Jade sighs. You could. Wait, no, I'd probably kill you at the speed I'd be going. Solix could take you if he's feeling nice, Karkat says and smiles at Solix.
I'm not a free teleportation service. I'm not meant to do that at all.
Solix hisses. Karkat shrugs as if that's a personal failing on Solix's part and goes back to drinking his coffee. Get good.
Get good.
I just want to know that Beck's
Also-
okay. Sorry, what?
Oh, I was just gonna ask if we can take a quick break because all the tea is hitting me.
Oh, sure.
Sorry.
That's all good. I shall get the music
shall
back
be-
up.
Okay, sorry. I'll be right back.
Sounds good.
Where's the hang up button? I missed him. Okay, be right back.
No one seems to know this, but Amazon
We have to
actually
sit
had
through the
a
YouTube
$50
ad
million
first.
fund that they have to pay out
There's an annoying thing that's been happening. One, it used to be that I could click on this like LoFi Girl thing and there were no ads because it was already loaded up into my system. And then the other portion is that it's not saving my place in the video anymore, and so it keeps popping back to the first couple of songs instead of saving new songs, so you guys can hear new music each time on these long playlists. But we shall persevere. It's not a big deal.
Well, ooh, can you hear me?
I forgot I muted myself. I was like talking back
Well,
to you like that was anything.
yeah. Also, while I was gone, I realized that the stream is incorrectly titled.
Oh, that happens.
Yeah, it's titled 6.2 to 7.
Gotcha. I updated the description, but not the title. What you gonna do?
What you gonna do when I come for you?
I'll fix that when we're done.
Okie dokie, artichoke. All
Okay.
right.
I just want to know that Beck's okay. Maybe if I could see him again, I could convince him to come back here with me. But he refused to leave the island before, Jade says sadly. Why would he do that, though? Is it something about the teleportation circle? Something about the island? I have so many questions. Carcat whispers, and then drinks a little bit more coffee.
We're gonna be late for class. The class that we're all going to, remember?
Dave prompts you all as you all get to your feet.
Don't do it.
Solix warns Carcat as he downs the last of his coffee. I didn't mean to start all of this, Jade says uneasily, glancing between Carcat and Solix. You're fine, really. Carcat smiles at her, walking to the doors with the rest of you. When did it start snowing? You ask in surprise as you open the doors outside.
It's really coming down.
Dave agrees, holding a hand out. That's the direction that it goes, Dave. June teases him.
Carcat, I'm begging you.
Solix starts. Wow, that's kind of embarrassing for you, Carcat says, and flashes a smile at Solix.
What the shit?
Just a little shitlord. All at once, Carcat vanishes from view, and you're nearly knocked to the ground with the gust of wind. Above you, there's a path through the fallen snow that's been cut through as Carcat took off flying. Solix is staring upwards like a cat trying to catch a bird on the other side of a window, all frustrated and unable to do anything.
I can't fucking see him like that. Ugh. Fine, I'm telling Matuna and we're going to get there first.
Solix hisses and teleports away as well.
Couldn't you have stopped him? Or I guess he wasn't doing anything stupidly dangerous. We know where he's going.
Dave says to June. I don't want to order him unless it's life or death, but yeah, I think we all saw that dumb decision coming, June mutters. I feel responsible for this. I'm sorry, Jade says sadly. You couldn't have known that this was going to happen, you reassure her.
Well, we'd better go to class. Those two aren't going to be taking notes, so I guess I have to do it.
Dave sighs and starts walking towards your magical language class. Well, Carcat can learn that the natural consequence of skipping class is that he gets Dave's notes. Partway through the lecture, Dave's notes covered in dicks. Partway through the lecture,
And
Jade
maybe
nudges...
some more poems.
So what?
I said, and maybe some more poems.
More poems.
More poems.
And please call it a poem. I have to see how he reacts. Partway through the lecture, Jade nudges your leg and shows you her phone under the desk. Twin Armageddons began trolling Garden Gnostic.
How the fuck do you have a hellhound?
I don't. Well, I don't think I do.
The big white eyeless hell beast? Yes.
He's not a hell beast. He's Beck.
He's a hellhound. One of Matuna's. Where did you get it?
My grandpa had Beck before I was born, so I don't know. He's a good boy, though. Is he okay?
No, he's a bad boy. affectionately, I mean. And he's completely fine. Hellhounds have no problems hunting at all. You're right on that.
Okay, right. I'm not really sure what to say to all of that. A hellhound? What? Is that safe? You ask in a whisper. He's been my best friend for my whole life. I thought he was some kind of fey dog, or part fey or something. He's never hurt me at all. Jade insists, though quietly enough that your teacher can't hear. June nudges Jade, so Jade shows her the phone as you think for a moment. He's not going to have a problem with Karkat, is he? You ask worriedly. There's every chance that a hellhound won't take well to an angel. Jade makes a face as she presumably imagines how that might go, and goes back to messaging Solix. You have a peek, but Solix is just saying that Beck is very obedient to Matuna and incredibly friendly. He wasn't trained to hunt and kill angels specifically, so if Solix and Matuna seem fine with Karkat, then he should be fine. You very much dislike the number of shoulds and probablys in there. After about half an hour, Jade gets another message and shows it to you.
Her brain just arrived and got told off by Matuna. Also, I licked Karkat's face to prove that he was mine, and Beck hasn't attacked him.
Did you need to do that, or are you just annoying Karkat? And don't say both.
The second one. But it did make Beck think that he could and should lick KK's face.
Ha! That's something of a relief, at least. But you still wonder how Jade's human grandfather came to be in possession of a hellhound in the first place. You know that he was a former academic of the university, so maybe he found one lost when he was doing research or something, but that seems unlikely. There's something there, you're sure of it. To your surprise, your phone vibrates in your jacket pocket. It's so cold that you've not even taken the thing off. It was also easier to pocket your phone instead of going through your gloves to your phone charm, all of which makes it easy enough to get to your phone. Twin Armageddons began trolling Tentacle Therapist.
So, vis-a-vis our earlier conversation, Karkat had a really strange reaction to Beck. You know, Karkat, I've literally seen him sue a fly out of a room rather than swat it.
Yes, Karkat with his bleeding heart, I know. Although I'm not a fan of how literal that is.
Yeah, well, he was curious about Beck because he's never seen a hellhound before. But it was all academic curiosity, asking Matuna where they come from, how they work, what they do, etc., etc.
Right, very cerebral and not that emotional.
Tuna told him about how hellhounds work, and I'm not going into all of that right now. But then Matuna said about how they're pack animals and they have families, and even though Hell uses them as working animals, you normally have a little pack together. If you have them guarding something, you normally have a bunch, so they can work in shifts and bond with each other and whatever they're guarding. That way, it feels like their stuff too. Matuna had to give Beck up as a young-ish pup by direct order from the very top. Handed it over to him directly.
That's concerning. How did he end up with Jade's grandfather?
Good question, but not my point. Karkat worked out that all of that means that Beck was alone. He didn't have his pack with him, and that he was abandoned or rejected. He went unloved, and now Karkat won't leave him alone.
As soon as Karkat could relate, he could feel more.
Yeah, the fact that Beck has clearly been spoiled half to death here from the amount of dog toys versus photographs of him, dog bed, and whatever doesn't actually matter. KK has now got the feels for Beck.
That's very interesting. He's still him, but operating very differently to before.
Yeah, anyway, go study. I have an idiot to keep watch over.
Twin Armageddon ceased trolling Tentacle Therapist. You try to consider the problem at hand. Karkat seems to be able to connect to Dave and Solix just fine. You presume that there's structure in their relationship that's perhaps giving Karkat a framework to understand how they feel and how he should feel. He can relate to Matuna, but you can argue that his relationship to Karkat is very much the adoption that Karkat claims it to be. From there, he seems to have extrapolated outwards. Karkat certainly isn't unpleasant to you. he's not mean, but there's a lack of thought and connection that you originally had with Karkat from the moment you met him. It's hard to think about. Karkat is clearly an adult, but he also lacks a lot of experience and understanding. You want to help, but you also don't want to patronize him either. And he seemed more normal with you on the first day that he woke up. He's also seemed to be closer to Jade than he is to you. Ugh, that's an awful thing to think. Jade is your friend, she's Karkat's friend. You have no claim to him, and you should be happy that Karkat is making connections with people again, not engaging in this petty middle school bullshit. Perhaps the best thing that you can do is speak to Karkat as plainly and openly as you can. Your lecture finishes, and you're a little ashamed to admit that you didn't take any notes at all for at least the last third of the session. What's probably worse for your academic career is that you agree to the dumb plan that Solix comes up with. Trait?
Yeah, did you say Planic?
I said Planic.
Planic at the disco.
I'm from Planet Planic.
Yes. Okie dokie. Reading, we know how to do it.
Woo!
It seems that Jade's Island is very odd indeed. Not just because it's home to a hellhound. There's apparently some temple in it with an unsettling empty box in it and warding on it to keep anyone who isn't Jake Harley or a demon out of it. They want to pick up Jade and get her to show them anything that she can, and they'd like permission to go into places in her house. You do have a tutorial this afternoon, so you really shouldn't go off to a tropical island on a whim. I, for one, am on team being somewhere where I'm not freezing my balls off, Dave says with his arms wrapped tightly around him.
I, for one, don't care what happens to your balls.
June snickers. I can't believe you. So cruel. Dave sniffs.
I do want to go, and I have a slight suspicion that they might trick Karkat into opening things that they can't. So if people are going to go rummaging through my family's things, then I want to be there.
Jade adds. So what I'm hearing is that no one cares about my... Dave starts.
I'll go, if we don't continue this line of conversation, Dave.
You interrupt him. You'd really rather not hear that.
I'll go, if only because I want to see a very good boy, by which I obviously mean your dog, not any of the bipedal miscreants currently on your island.
June says to Jade. Hey, Karkat's good. Dave protests, clearly not even bothering to try to defend Sullix. Not that Sullix isn't a good person at heart. He's a jerk with a heart of gold, and you say that lovingly. You've known him for forever, pretty much, and you defend him without question. But he is still kind of an asshole a lot of the time.
Have you seen the things that he texts Solix?
June laughs.
How have you seen them?
You wonder. Wouldn't you like to know, weather girl? Dave memes at all of you, though the three of you silently agree to not acknowledge that. You shoot Sullix a message to come pick you up from your dorm, giving you time to get back and grab more appropriate clothing. You're glad that you did, because when Sullix takes the three of you to Jade's Island, it is a massive change in temperature. Oh, fuck, that's so much nicer. It's cold as hell back in Salem. I vote we don't go back. Dave sighs in relief. I second that, Sullix says, obviously.
I don't.
Jade says flatly, and then sticks two fingers in her mouth and whistles so loud it makes your ears hurt. There's a flash of green, and suddenly a dog. A dog-like creature is there in front of you. He has no eyes, and his mouth is radioactively green. There's a blur of movement, and suddenly Karkat skids to the ground, gouging tracks in the sandy dirt as he lands. He immediately falls to his knees by Beck and starts petting him, to the very clear delight of Beck.
Jade, I love him! Please, can he stay with us?
Karkat pleads, giving Jade the puppy dog eye as that Beck is unequipped to dispense.
I've got enough puppy dog eyes for the both of us.
Unlocks all of his eyes. See, puppy dog, guys.
Puppy dog! Ultimate puppy dog eyes! Oh boy.
Wait, that's the difference between normal car cat and this car cat. This car cat is puppy,
Puppy!
while the other car cat is a wet cat.
Oh no. Just the wettest cat.
Just so angry and damp.
I wanted him to come with us. If you can talk him into coming back with us, then I'd be very happy about it.
Jade laughs and pets her hellhound as well. Carcat starts eagerly asking Jade everything he can think about Beck. What he likes, what games does he enjoy, whether he does tricks, what his favorite food is, everything. Jade is just as happy to talk about her hellhound, so their conversation is going swimmingly. Sullux gives you a look, and you think he might be onto something here.
So, you said about a weird temple? I know a lot about weird temples. My temples are weird.
June asks Sullux. Wait. That's why Jade and Carcat get along so well in this one. Both puppy.
Both puppy.
Both puppy. Eureka. Puppy moment.
Puppy love.
Puppy love. I love puppies. Wait, do you have temples? Can we see them? Dave asks curiously, but June waves him off in favor of listening to Sullux. There was. I got in there. It was really heavily warded to keep out anything other than Jake Harley and anything demonic. There was an empty box with a note saying that, and there was this, Sullux says, and holds out a record to June.
It played music.
Carcat adds helpfully. The devil went down to Georgia. Sullux fills in for him. There's a beat as you, Jade, June, and Dave all look at Carcat in anticipation of his usual tirade against his most hated state. Carcat doesn't comment anything about it at all, and in some stupid way, it breaks your heart a little. He's not angry about Georgia. What shall we do?
He must be sick.
Oh no.
It's terminal.
Do you know the song? Sullux asks June vaguely. She shakes her head, and so Sullux pulls his phone out and tosses it to her as he puts the record away in his void again.
Yes.
June says after a moment, but it feels too long for her to mean that she knows the song. If she meant that, then wouldn't she have said something along the lines of not recognizing the title but the lyrics are familiar? Why does Jay's grandpa have a temple with a record in it and nothing else? Dave asks.
Good question. Jade, can we have a look inside your house?
June asks, suddenly serious.
Well, okay. I'm a little bit curious about that temple. Beck never let me go there at all. How did you three get there? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Oh, Jade asks. My bad.
No worries. I was just like, I'm gonna catch it this time. I'm gonna be so good.
You're gonna be so good.
So good. The goodest boy. Matuna made Beck heal, and we walked and floated there. When I flew, it was too fast, and Beck would bring me back. The same thing happened if they teleported.
Carcat explains.
Oh, so you found the lily pads.
Jade says. Sullux and Carcat look at each other in confusion, and then at Jade. What lily pads? Sullux asks.
The lily pads that come up from inside the lake when you walk towards the temple. It's a sort of curving path from this side of the island. You said you walked?
Jade answers them, clearly confused.
We were on the other side of the lake.
Carcat says slowly.
Yeah, because you kept playing chase with Beck. I guess there isn't a path from that side. Matuna carried Beck and we floated slowly across as Carcat walked over.
Sullux explains and teleports you all to the outside of a giant. You walked across the... Dude, did you walk on water? Dave asks in shock, or maybe delight.
It's a minor miracle. I'm an angel. It's not hard.
What, like it's hard?
What, like it's hard?
Karkat shrugs and then stands up. If you're going inside, then he does have to stop petting Beck at some point. Jade's home is quite something. Most homes don't have their former residents still in them, mounted and stuffed after death. You and Dave are the only people unnerved by this. Jade thinks that it's fine, and Karkat and Selix don't spare the dead man a second glance.
I want to go in.
Karkat complains as he follows Selix up the stairs.
What did Tuna say?
Selix asks him patiently.
He said wait until Jade got here because there are wards, but she's here now and I want in. There's books in there and I want to know what they say.
Karkat, why?
Give me the books.
He's so
Please.
Okay, but now I'm just imagining like having a stick with a book tied to the end of it and just like, get it, Karkat, get the book.
Easiest way to catch a Karkat.
Oh, absolutely.
Take it up with him.
Selix says flatly. Karkat doesn't say anything to that, but just looks a little bit sullen.
What? Did you think that you'd be able to convince me to let you into the dangerous magical room alone when Matuna said no?
Selix snorts. Karkat looks deeply frustrated, so you're going to bet that's exactly what he was hoping would happen.
Oops, I made this green, but that's Jade.
Yeah, I saw. I was like, wait a minute.
It's strange having other people in my house. Not bad, just strange. I always wanted to have friends over.
Jade says, her tone a little melancholy. Friends that aren't... Oh, wait. I started saying that as Selix. My bad, G. Friends that aren't covered in white fur, you mean? Dave teases her gently, but it gets Jade to smile, and that was definitely the...
I'm covered in white fur.
Karkat points out, and it's true. Beck's fur has plastered itself all over Karkat's clothes because of how much he's been petting him. You all go up the floors in Jade's tower-like house in single file. June at the very front with Karkat and Selix right behind her. Then Jade, and you, and Dave. The result is that you can't even see June or Karkat when you're climbing the stairs, and when you arrive on the floor that you're supposed to get to, you find that they're not with you.
They went ahead, as if Matuna's going to open anything up before Jade gets there. Karkat getting there first won't make it go any faster, dumbass.
Selix explains when he sees that you're all looking around for them.
And why is June so keen?
You ask curiously.
God fuckery.
Selix answers, and you suppose that kind of checks out.
We've done it.
Yay.
By Jove, we've done it again. We can't be stopped.
Wow.
We cannot be stopped, short of death.
Short. And death so short. Just a little goodbye. One for the road.
Short of death. And we are death.
Dun dun dun. Now that I'm just picturing the world's like shortest Grim Reaper.
Oh, you got
and that is
all
great.
prickly there. What happened?
I said I'm picturing the world's shortest Grim Reaper, and it's delightful.
Oh no, and you're gone.
I can still hear you, so it's very sad you cannot hear me and my short Grim Reaper. But I guess we'll go ahead and stop the stream here. If we can't even hear each other, we can't exactly riff about anything.
Okay, sorry. It fucked up for a second, and I just wanted to make sure we actually have the chance to say goodbye.
Yeah.
Unless you
Get
already
your
ended the
goodbyes
thing.
in.
I don't... What'd you say?
Get your goodbyes in.
Get your goodbyes in.
Fare thee well, everyone. Have a
Fare
great
thee
day.
well. Goodbye.
Goodbye.